Welcome to another Tomorrow's World Webcast. I'm Mike DeSimone. I ran across an article in the online news publication Quartz. It was titled, "An Oxford Neuroethicist on How Drugs Can Make Us More Moral." It's by Olivia Goldhill. Now, while the idea of becoming drug dependent in order to become more moral is absurd by itself, I want to focus on a more narrow point that the article brings out. The article quotes from Brian Earp. He's a research associate at the Oxford Center for Neuroethics. He says, imagine a psychopath who doesn't have the ability to deal with other people's pain, and because of that is more likely than others to commit violent crimes. The same is true for those who experience blinding rage and do terrible things in the heat of their anger. Now, there's a belief that people have no control over themselves and something needs to be done about it. The article goes on, he believes increasing morality is, quote, a good goal almost by definition. If morality is a good thing, then pursuing moral improvement is something we should all value. Now, there's so many places we can go with this topic, but I want to focus on what the article brings up as a concern. Quote, perfectly following moral laws would be a threat to our free will. The idea of abiding by moral laws being a threat to our free will, what are we talking about? The idea that you're only free when you ignore moral laws? This is why the world is in the mess that it's in. Now, I would argue that if we could develop a drug that would facilitate our moral decisions, we'd certainly be compromising our free will because we wouldn't have made the choice by ourselves to do the right thing, to grow in character, kind of like a robot. Proverbs 16 verse 32 says, he who is slow to anger is better than the mighty, and he who rules his spirit better than he who takes a city. If you want to talk about free will, let's talk about making the decision on purpose to obey the moral laws of God, the Ten Commandments, what James calls the law of liberty, that's not burdensome, according to John. If you really want to experience free will, keeping God's law will give you that on a level that we've never experienced before. You see, our minds are naturally against the laws of God. That's why it's so easy to do whatever we want as long as it's not according to His moral, spiritual law. Romans 8 and verse 7 says, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, nor indeed can be. Believe it. If a person tries to stop stealing, cheating, lusting, coveting, or even breaking the Sabbath for the rest of their life, it's then when you realize the intense grip these things have had on our lives. Our utter lack of free will when we don't keep His moral laws. Ephesians 2 says, and you he made alive, who were dead in trespasses and sins, in which you once walked according to the course of this world, according to the prince of the power of the air, the spirit who works in the sons of disobedience. Mankind has been and is under the powerful sway of Satan the devil, and all he wants from us is to not live according to the laws of God. But through Jesus Christ, we can, of our free will, repent, be forgiven for fighting against God, and one day be in His kingdom, having developed the character through choosing the right and doing the right, something that no drug could take the place of. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook or Twitter.